Greetings, everyone. This is I'm Right.
I'm right.
And I'm Jill Cox Cordova.
I'm Anthony Cordova for another day.
And we're still in the new year. Seems like 2022 should be over already.
Really?
Yep. But
good luck with that.
I know, right? But one good thing has happened this year.
What's that, Jill?
We got a voicemail.
Voicemail, yay!
So
see. Now I know our listeners do love us.
Some of them do.
All of our listeners love us.
I don't think all of them do, but some of them do.
Maybe we have haters. Hey, haters, we need you to
chime in too. That would be fun.
Yeah.
But let's hear from someone who loves us and we love her. Our friend Shannon.
Shannon, hi Shannon.
Hi Shannon, shout out.
Okay, well, let's cue that up and take a listen.
Let's do it.
You guys are just hilarious. Sometimes when I have something longer to say, I record it. So I cannot pass by a jewelry store without thinking about the time you indulged and went in and bought yourself an expensive ring. That cracked me up. And to know that you said you had problems paying bills or adulting. Like,
yep.
Oh my God, Jill, it made me love you even more. It's like, I love this lady. But I am really enjoying listening to your podcast. If I miss a week, I may double love, but I always try to listen in because it's just so funny. And I think you guys give really great advice. So I'm still listening. All right. I love you.
We love you too, Shannon. Thanks for calling in. And I really do love Shannon. And it's still funny to me that the things that people say I'm funny about.
Yeah, because
I
didn't think you buying that ring was funny at all. Not to me.
You do now. You can laugh about it now, right? Right?
Yeah, I'm laughing.
You can laugh about it now. And yes, Shannon is exactly right. There was a time I just didn't feel like adulting.
Yeah, we'll leave that to me.
But you got...
We'll leave that to me.
You took care of things. That's good. It's good to have a companion like you.
Thanks, Jill.
So I didn't disagree with anything she said.
But Shannon should do that to her husband. Just go out and just buy some expensive jewelry.
Shannon, if you do that, let it be known that Tony told you to do that, not Jill.
You should be in her corner. Go and buy something very extravagant that you've always wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And well, the one thing I can say in her defense is that he'll get over it sooner or later. He will. Good. Sooner or later. All right. Well, let's get to this week's topic.
What are we doing this week, Jill?
We are talking about conversations with yourself.
Oh, I'll be good at that.
Yes, you will. It's part of a segment that we call Stand by Your Stance. So you have more conversations with yourself than I do.
Yes, but I actually want you to start because I have conversations with myself on a daily basis. Not only daily, but probably like all throughout the day. Like in 5 minutes, I'll be having a conversation with myself.
But don't you think that's indicative of people who are by themselves a lot? Like you're during your regular work day, you're by yourself a lot.
Yeah, but I even have conversations with myself when you and I are talking.
Oh, don't I know it? Don't I know it? Because you will say, remember when I said such and such and such? You didn't say that out loud. Yes, I did. Like, no, you did not say that out loud.
Surely I did. I did.
You do that all the time.
But Jill.
Yes.
Come on, tell us about these conversations with yourself, please.
My conversations with myself?
Yes, I want to hear yours first because when we had I think it was the previous episode we had where, I may have drank too much, that topic. And I took up the whole podcast.
Because you have drunk more than me. Yeah.
But so I want you to start because I talk to myself more than you do. So
Yes, you do.
so we'll start with you. So you'll
Well, I don't think I
have some
talk to myself.
airtime.
I don't think I talk to myself as much as I used to. I'll give you an example of when I talked to myself and I didn't realize it. Before you and I met,
Mm-hmm.
I would have to go to the grocery store, right?
Yeah, people do that. Yeah,
Well, if you
you
know
had to go, but
if
people do
if
that.
people know me at all, they know that I don't really care for grocery stores.
Some people
I
like
don't.
going to the grocery
That
store.
is not me. I do not like to go to grocery stores. But
Okay.
back when I had to go to grocery stores, I would have conversations about, like, if I were in the produce aisle, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
and I would have conversations about, which ones were the best ones to get.
This is in your mind or out loud?
Apparently out loud, because once I had talked to myself about which items were the best to get and put them in my basket, I would look up and I would have like an audience, and they were just looking at me, and I'm like, what? And so one time a woman said, yes, honey, that's the one to get. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. So I really tried after that not to have conversations with myself in a public setting.
Mm-hmm.
But that seemed to be the place that I recognized it.
Wow.
And now I know that I have conversations with myself, but I don't think they're out loud because it occurs all the time when I'm writing. Now,
Mm-hmm.
in my head, my characters are talking to me and I'm talking back to them.
That's a little different.
But some people...
Characters have a life of their own.
They do. But some people, if you came up on me while I'm having these conversations with my characters, you would think I'm talking to myself because you can't hear my characters.
Sounds a kind of...
Writers have voices in their head. They're allowed to have voices in their head, if that's what you're trying to say.
I'm not trying to say
that
anything.
Is not a sign of any craziness. It's what writers do.
So are we talking about conversations with yourself, or are we talking about thoughts, just thoughts a person may have?
No, we're talking about conversations because apparently sometimes I have had my conversations with the person who hears me probably thinks I'm only speaking to myself, and the conversation is very one-sided because they're not hearing the other person in my head. So I'm saying that...
Who's the other? Like, let's go back to the grocery store.
Yes.
So were you asking someone for advice? That other person in your head, you were asking yourself for advice on which produce to choose?
Yes, I would say, like, Jill, which one of these potatoes looks the best?
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, Jill, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Wow.
Well, I don't know,
and
Jill.
I still married you?
Well, I didn't do it anymore by the time I met you. I had trained myself not to.
Oh, if I had known that, maybe we wouldn't be married.
Oh, look who's talking. You still have conversations with yourself and insist that you said you didn't say it, out loud. You insist on that. You either have some conversations that you have in your head, and then you have some that are out loud. In fact, I can be in a different room, but nearby.
Uh-huh.
And I can hear you just talking. So I'll come and say, who are you talking to? Oh, I'm talking to myself. Or I'm not talking to you. Like, are you still talking to me?
No, I'm
not talking to you.
Hey, can't you tell the difference between me talking to myself and talking to you?
Not always, no.
Why not?
Because sometimes you ask yourself questions and you wait for an answer. So I think you're waiting for me to answer.
Yeah. I quite often when I'm doing the bills, I will talk to myself out loud.
And what do you say?
Just general conversation. Okay, which one am I going to pay next? Do I pay this one, that one, this one, that one? Okay. Oh, man, that's messed up. Gee, where'd that come from? How much did Jill pay? What did Jill charge this week?
Is it in
Do
that tone?
do I need to?
Do you have it in that tone?
And then I might say, do I need to ask Jill about this? But Jill's sleeping. Do I wake her up to ask her? How important is
Sometimes
this?
you have
Or can I
awakened me.
figure out what it is before I wake her up? Stuff like that.
Well, you don't wake me up that often, but sometimes you do.
Yeah.
But then once I'm awake, you'll come back in and you're still talking. So I'll think that you're talking to me. Like, are you talking to me? No, I'm not talking to you.
You should know.
We could be in the same room.
There must be a different tone in my voice when I speak to myself.
No, I don't think so. You also talk to the TV a lot. I learned that from you. I never used to talk to the TV at all. And then I learned that from you. Because sometimes we can be in the same room.
A lot of people talk to the TV, or when they're watching a movie or a series or something. Like, don't go in that room. Don't go in there.
But sometimes that's not what you say. Like, we can be in the same room, and I can be on my computer. You can be watching TV, and then you'll say something that doesn't seem directed at the TV. And I'll say, are you talking to me? No, I'm not talking to you.
You should
But
know
clearly you are.
You should know.
Clearly you are. Like, you'll say, do you think he's going to do such and such and such? Are you talking to me? No, I'm not talking to you.
Let's see. Yeah.
So it seems like since I'm the only one in the room that can answer the question.
Well, I may have been talking to you, but I didn't want you to know that I was talking to you because I didn't want to disturb you.
But the end result's still the same. I still stop what I'm doing. Are you talking to me? No, I'm not talking to you.
Absolutely not. I'm not talking to you. Hey, I can talk to myself just fine.
You did or did not?
I can. I don't. Why do I have to talk to you?
Excuse me?
This is why we started the podcast, so I could give you some time so we can have conversations. I get tired of talking to myself sometimes. So I figured if we started a podcast, I would at least get to talk to you for 30 minutes straight.
But that makes it sound like we didn't talk before. And we have always talked.
We talk. Sometimes I'm having conversations with myself and you think I'm having a conversation with you and you start answering and stuff, interrupting me and myself's conversation.
Like when? Like what? What kind of conversation are you having with yourself that I'm answering, but you're really having with yourself? Give me an example.
Well, I do not recall at this moment.
You brought it up.
Well, it happens so often. So,
Huh? So it sounds like you prefer to talk to yourself instead of me or anybody else.
Oh, I love talking to you, Jill. You know I do.
Nice save.
You know I love it. I love it. Yeah, quite often we just sit and talk. You know that. I love it.
So percentage-wise, do you talk to me more or yourself?
Myself.
What's the percentage?
Well, I have more time with myself than I have with you, so I talk to myself probably quite a bit more than I talk to you. Well, let's just go with when we're together, when we're in the same room, what's the percentage of me talking to myself and me talking to you? How about that?
Okay.
It's it's probably 25, 75, 25% talking to myself.
You mean to me?
No, to myself.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't think you're sure.
70% talking to you when we're in the same room and 25% talking to myself. But it may not be out loud. 25.
Talking to me.
To myself. I talk to you 75% of the time when we're in the same room.
And if I'm nearby, but not in the same room?
Then the percentage obviously changes because I can't talk to you when you're not in the same room with me.
What do the conditions have to be when you start these conversations with yourself?
Usually I'm doing something else. something else. I'm doing
Like
something
working.
else. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could be, writing or working on something that I have written. I might be doing research or learning to use a new editing program or something. I will talk to myself out loud.
Well,
You know.
I think I do when it could, because I don't really care for learning new technology all the time unless it's just really easy.
Mhm.
So if it frustrates me, I know that I talk to myself,
Mhm.
like, man, this is really hard. This is
Okay.
frustrating. Why am I doing this?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some of the benefits of talking to yourself.
There are some.
Oh, yes.
Clarity.
Yes, there's much clarity.
Because that's why I did it in the grocery
you,
store.
you,
I
you-
talked it out.
yeah, and you got answers.
Do you think people who are the best communicators benefit the most or do this the most?
I don't know. I can only talk for myself.
Okay.
Everybody's different. But being able to be alone with myself, with my own thoughts, talking to myself and working things out, a lot of people don't have the time to even do it because of their jobs and they're working with other people and all of this. There's no peace, there's no quietness in order to have these conversations with
So
yourself.
are you saying if you're in a relationship with someone, you need you don't need someone who's around you 24/7? Is that what you're saying? Because you need time to talk to yourself?
I'm saying most people don't have time to talk to themselves. So me, with being in a career where I was alone, probably 90% of the time, I was able to, let's say, alone with my thoughts. I would think things out. Issues that I may have had or having in my life, I can work those things out, and I may voice these things out loud. Well, why do you keep doing this? Why do you keep making this mistake? And I would work that out. But then some people I don't think can even handle talking to themselves when it gets to uh, being really deep. And not like you where you're talking about picking out produce. You might be talking to yourself about making a change in your life. You might be talking about whether you should get divorced or not, or break up with someone, or
I've had those conversations with myself.
yeah. So, but again, a lot of people don't have the time to really get to it, especially, they got a job and they might have a hectic job. And then as soon as they get off work, they got to pick up the kids and then they have to make dinner and they have to do all of these things. And then you get a hour or two to rest, then you go to sleep and then you do it all over the next day. And it doesn't allow for a lot of time to really sit and talk to yourself, be alone with your thoughts.
Well, rather than the word time, I think you're saying space or a chance to. It's not that they don't have time, it's that they don't have the space to do it. Space from someone else. So I'm getting back
Space and time.
Well, I'm getting back to in relationships, you and I maintain that as well as we get along together, we both need our space.
I never said that.
Well, I'm saying it.
Jill, don't you want to be with me all the time?
No.
Why not? Why not? You're hurting my feelings.
I'm not hurting your feelings.
Got my feelings are hurt.
Your feelings are not hurt.
My feelings are hurt.
I've been asking for. Why do you think I want a writing studio so badly? To have space to myself. I've been saying that for 4 years now. Actually longer, but on a podcast 4 years.
Just trying to get away from me. I'm trying to live inside your skin, Jill. I
don't
love
want
you that much.
That's creepy. I don't want you to do that.
I love you that much.
No,
it's going to be inside your skin.
Nope. That is not a place to be. Just like you tell me that I don't want to be in your head. You tell me that sometimes. And you don't want to be in my head. And I think you're right.
You don't want to be.
I think you're right.
No.
So I believe now, every couple is different, right? Everyone has different needs. But I believe that in order to, you and I have talked about maintaining your identity. I think sometimes you need time with yourself to think through things like we're discussing.
So I'm getting back to what I asked you from the beginning. So what is the difference between, just talking to yourself or having thoughts to yourself? So when we say talking to yourself, does that mean you actually say it out loud, or
Yes.
is thinking it the same thing?
No, thinking is thinking. We all have thoughts that most of us keep to ourselves. Like some people say every single thought that they have we call those people without filters.
Mm-hmm.
But many of us, I definitely don't say everything I'm thinking in some situations. I know what to say out loud, and I know what to keep to myself.
So what do you keep to yourself?
Well, remember that time I was in a certain workplace, and I saw one of my peers eating chicken wings.
I knew you were going to bring that one up.
And in my head, I was like, I hope he chokes on that chicken wing and dies.
Oh, that's awful.
It is awful. So I didn't say it out loud. I only said it out loud to you.
Yeah, after you said that, I didn't make chicken wings for a long time.
You didn't? You thought I wanted you to choke on chicken wings? You thought I would transfer that to you?
Maybe you were upset with me for something. I don't know.
I never would.
And then
want that to happen.
But maybe she wants me to choke on chicken wings.
No, I don't.
I also get afraid whenever you hold a knife.
Well, I talk with my hands. That's the problem. So if I have a knife in my hand,
it's scary.
Or I'm talking with my hands still. Okay. But I'm not trying to stab you. And I've never stabbed you.
I hope not. Even by accident.
Well, that's a whole other episode about what we do accidentally. That's a whole other episode.
So, yeah, but talking to myself is, for me, it's a good thing. I will speak to myself out loud, and I'll answer also.
Okay, so getting back to the benefits that you said.
The benefits is that I do get to work things out. And actually, I think I work them out faster when I actually speak the words.
Well, I believe that we can work things out faster when we talk them out.
Yeah. And I'm talking about the difficult situation.
As opposed to just thinking about it. Because you can hear your thoughts.
Yeah, and we can kind of always hear our thoughts, but it's not much different than like a brainstorm meeting. You know how they used to have those brainstorming meetings?
I think people still do. I'm pretty sure they do.
But they do.
That's how you become innovators.
Yes, that's right. So I kind of do the same thing, when I talk out loud. It's kind of the same thing. Just with myself.
Okay, so
I don't have multiple Tonys to talk to. Just
the one.
Just
you
the
don't
one
do you have different voices?
No,
for yourself?
No.
Well, that's good.
No, I don't.
That's good.
No, I don't. I don't put on two faces. Like Two-Face from
very
Batman.
Good.
I don't do that.
That's good. That's good. So when you're in a relationship and you're talking out loud but to yourself, is that a problem? Are there cons to it?
I don't see any cons to it. Do you see any cons to it?
Well, not with us, but it would be a con if I had wanted you to choke on a chicken bone. That would have been a con if I were thinking that and I said it out loud. That's a con. Right?
But that's not talking to yourself. That's not talking to yourself.
But if I were talking to myself, like I did with my actual colleague, I was talking to myself, but I wasn't saying. No, actually, I was thinking.
You were thinking,
but I knew not to say it out loud.
No,
like I knew what the repercussions would be if I said that out loud.
If it played out like this, if it played out like, well, he makes me sick. I wish he'd choke on a chicken wing.
And he
then,
did?
And then, no. And then another voice said, make it happen, Jill. Make it happen. And you'd say, no, I can't do that. I'll go to jail. Another voice will say, you won't go to jail if you don't get caught. And your voice will say, yeah, but I always get caught because I don't do anything illegal. And the other voice says, I'll help you through it. I'll help you through it.
No, you're talking about when the devil's on your shoulder. We already had that episode where I said, don't listen to the devil.
But that devil on your shoulder could be your other voice.
But I don't have another voice. It's still my voice. I don't have another voice.
But it's
You think some people have another voice?
Let me tell you something about schizophrenia.
Okay? Now you're saying we're schizophrenic?
No, but I want to put this into perspective. A person that is schizophrenic doesn't, you remember the movie Sybil, and it was a book too, wasn't it? Yes, I'm sure it was. And everyone thinks that when a person is schizophrenic, they actually have different voices. Their voice sounds different. But quite often, to the person suffering from schizophrenic, the voice always sounds like their voice. But the personality of that voice is different.
I understand.
So, what I'm saying is, you're distracting me. Don't be pointing all over the place.
I'm pointing to the time.
Giving me signs and being a producer.
You're taking a long time to tell this story.
Well, the point is, sometimes if you talk to yourself, it may not be a good thing because you may be schizophrenic.
That's true.
Even if you're just hearing your voice. But that other voice is another personality. Okay. That's all I have to say about that.
Well, let's get to our second segment that we call
Give It a Rest and a Resolution.
Conclusion.
So, what do you have, Jill? Any conclusions on this?
My conclusion is that I do see benefits of talking to yourself. But if you're in a relationship when you're doing it, just make sure they understand that that's what you're doing.
Okay, I guess, yeah. I kind of agree with that, even though I don't always do that. But I agree with that.
Okay. All right, well, let's get to our third segment that we call
I'm trying to help you.
So, yes, I do have something.
Okay.
If you're a person that does not speak to themselves, try it. Try it. Try doing it and doing it out loud while you're by yourself and see what results you get.
Okay. And my advice is, I don't have any advice.
I have advice for you.
What?
Don't talk to yourself in the grocery store.
I don't anymore.
Don't talk to yourself when you go to the store to buy clothes. Don't in public places. Maybe you should not talk to yourself.
That's how I met many people, though.
Is that how you met me?
No. You can meet some interesting people that way.
We'll save that for another episode.
Okay. Well, let's get to our last segment that we call.
So, what do you think? What do you think?
Because I'm right.
Because I'm right.
Be like Shannon. Call us.
Yes, at 404-594-2247.
Yes, and you can talk to us about anything.
Yeah, so we've gotten...
Tell us but I would like to know if listeners talk to themselves, and if they do, what do they say?
I bet you most of our listeners talk to themselves.
I bet so too. Yeah, because they actually do say people that talk to themselves, and you asked this early on, have better communication skills. Right, because they're working things out. Yeah.
And so when it comes time to listen to someone else, they can.
Oh, well, that's my advice. Don't be afraid to listen to yourself. That's my advice.
Okay.
All right.
A little late.
I know. I came up with it, though. All right. Well, I think it's time to wrap this up. You've been listening to I'm Right.
I'm Right.
I'm Jill Cox Cordova.
I'm Anthony Cordova.
Shout out to Gifford Ivan Cordova III for the music, Nick Zinke for the art, and to you two listeners. We love you.
Love you, listeners. Love you all. Enjoy 2022.
That's almost over.
It's just starting. Just starting. I don't want it to end yet because I think some great things are going to happen. Bye. We love you all.